Hello everyone, welcome to Bschool Buddies. Let's wait for 2 minutes so that other folks who are interested can also join, and then we will start the session. As you can see, Rohan and Tunir are already with me, and they are excited for the session as well, just like you guys. I think we should not delay it further and let's get started because you guys are already excited. I'm already getting messages that when will it start. Okay, guys. So I think whenever there is a competition, B School Buddies is there to help you guys. And since it is a time for one of the biggest competition, that is Reliance TUP, the ultimate pitch. So we are here again with another webinar, and this time not just one, but the national winners of 2 years are here, 2 consecutive years. So with me is Rohan Kulkarni, national winner of Reliance TUP season 8. So he is from batch of 2023 from IM Calcutta. And then there is Tunir Sahu. He is national winner of last year's Lions TUP, that is season 9. And he is from IM Kashipur batch of 2024. So again, you guys must be cursing me for taking your time out and not letting you meet with the national winners itself. So let me not take much time. Let me give the stage to Neil first, and then of course Rohan as well. So yeah, please guys, let's take it ahead.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
Uh, okay. Before I start my presentation about how you guys should move forward in the competition, I want to first request Prashant to play the video that took us to the ultimate journey.
Do you know about breast cancer? Yes, I do. I've read it on internet. I've come across different campaigns for it and heard about it from a college camp. Do you know how often you should perform a breast cancer inspection? Just twice a month. Yes. Maybe once or twice a month. I'm not sure.
But I guess it might be once a week or twice a month.
Are you familiar with the steps for performing a breast cancer self-exam at home?
No.
I think it can be done with the help of trying to find a lump. So,
No.
did you ever have a mammogram before? No. Yes, I have. So it seems very uncomfortable to be honest, and it's very explosive. Going for a mammogram is not an easy job.
Globally, 2.3 million women are diagnosed with breast cancer yearly, causing around 6,85,000 deaths. In India, it accounts for 14% of women's cancer, leading to about 90,000 deaths annually.
Early diagnosis. Early diagnosis saves life. This is the big term. This the message has to go home is early diagnosis saves life.
Early Sense, a rechargeable smart roller with pressure sensor tips which detect breast cancer lungs, offering real-time AI imaging and sensing via a phone app for non-invasive early detection of breast cancer. Early Sense roller is painless, non-invasive, portable and easy to use. Early Sense application provides real-time results, is AI-powered, provides early warning and self-check reminder. Technical specifications for 3 units. First, pressure sensor gauges breast tissue force. Second, grid with Bluetooth module for user-friendly examinations. Third, microprocessor with battery unit for data processing and meeting calculation. Let us see the demonstration of early sense. You can build a map of your torso by rolling the rollers vertically as well as horizontally in the following manner demonstrated. It creates a map for the same. All the areas are covered in real time. The app uses month-by-month comparisons and collates the data in the following manner to flag abnormalities in breast tissue. The application reminds you just in time for your next self check. Our idea is futuristic, AI enabled, it solves a real life problem. It challenges the conventional wisdom of using mammogram. Business is scalable due to easy availability of AI devices. Hence, we can develop a business out of it.
So this was the video that I think created the most impact and was a precursor to our victory. I would request Prasant to open the presentation, please. Yes. So hello everybody. My name is Tunir Sahu, and I was the ultimate winner for Reliance TUP last year, season 9. So before I begin my presentation, I would like to inform you how the ideation stage went for us. So, as somebody great once said, every idea is born out of necessity and is born out of any inherent uh, feeling of deprivation. So, in our cases, because I had a background in pharmacy, I always felt like that the diagnostic sectors or the diagnosis space in India or as well as the world has a huge gap. So I personally, because of my background, was much more keen and interested to find something that can really help people. And there comes my first point, which everybody of you should include in your presentation, that the ideation or the in idea stage there should be an idea that changes the world. There should be an idea that inspires people, and it should create a social impact. So your idea should not be just like a money making machine, but something that changes the world. That's something that we have been appreciated upon in the finals also. So in ideation stage you should be ideating it in such a way that it's a problem of general purpose, and a mass of people are facing the same issues. Like in our case it was breast cancer. Breast cancer, if I'm sharing the statistics, it's nearly 2.3 million women are diagnosed with breast cancer, and this disease is easily curable if it is caught in the first or second phase. Problem comes with cancer is if it's caught in later stages, when the benign tumor has turned into malignancy. Benign and malignancy means malignant tumors are spreading. So if you diagnose early for breast cancer, just giving a brief background, if the cancer is caught in detected and diagnosed in stage 1 and 2, so it's usually be curable by medicines. So based on that inherent innovation and the need of a diagnostic kit, we built the concept of early stage. So just moving through my PPT, what I think is necessary to, if you have idea upon certain things that you should always go for, is first describe how big of the idea. In every slide that you will go across of my deck, you will see in no slide there is a huge chunk of information. So we wanted to create an impact so that people can relate, not just read PPTs. So there should be a personal connection between you and the judges are also human. So you need to build a connect to of your idea and the judges imagination through the pitch. And believe me guys, if you write a lot in your PPT, that's not going to be happening. So, secondly, moving to the next slide, we describe the scope. That was a breast cancer is a worldwide problem, but due to the lack of resources, we cannot solve it worldwide. We have to take baby steps, as one great person said. Charity begins at home. So we targeted that we will be solving or conceptualizing to solve this problem in India. So we gave the statistics of India. That was our main step, that is globalization to localization, making a global problem and how it is impacting Indian audience. So as you can see in the slide, in India there is 14% of all cancer cases are breast cancer. Then moving to the slide that created the most impact, I call it the awe slide, that creates a real sense of urgency and necessity to solve the problem. That was giving you a glance that what is the mortality rate and how many people are really affected in this and how many families are devastated by this problem. So that was 1 in 6 death in every minute. And this catchphrase, if you see my Reliance TUP finance video, is that catchphrase I have been using everywhere to grasp that this is a dire situation that is happening in the country and this should be solved immediately. Thus, relating my awe moment to the social impact issue, that it's a really big social problem. Then moving on, that how a little bit of science and some frameworks and methodology that that's I have already discussed with you, that if the breast cancer is detected in first stage, there is a chance of saving the person's life 98% of the times, and if it's later stage of cancer, that's 4%, that is only 27% of the times. And a methodology that we use, that is something that the solution must have, should have, could have, and will have. Then moving to our big idea, then after building upon the problem and describing the gravity of the problem, we came upon how the idea is of what our idea is and how we are going to create an impact. So basically we created a smart roller that uses AI to detect breast cancer. This is some basic slides that explain the uh, working of the roller, how we are going to utilize piezoelectric sensor to make a 3D map of a human breast, and then we do month by month comparison to detect which part of the breast is developing a tumor. Moving on to our three things which I think you all guys must have in your slide, is a perpetual mapping. So what's the perpetual mapping helps in a ways that it creates singularity. So there is a crowd of companies there, which and methods are there which are already being used. So let us take an example of electric vehicles. So if you see the perpetual mapping of electric vehicles, the perpetual mapping of electric vehicles would be in somewhere between sustainability and cost. So in similar fashion, we created a perpetual mapping which gave us a nice niche that we can cater to. There were many methods, invasive, non-invasive. There were methods which are expensive, which are cheap. So a perpetual mappings help you in positioning in your product, and a perpetual mapping is a must in your slides. Then the basic things that we have all studied in our B school, that was market analysis, SAM, TAM, SOM, and the EVG. And you should also try to make individual customer personas for it. Customer personas can be built through primary and secondary research. Primary, a good source of primary research would be going and talking to the patients or your target audience. There's nothing better than listening the problem from the horse's mouth. So what in our case we did, because I we had the unfair advantage, because I had a degree in pharmacy, and I could gone to hospitals, and due to my degree I could have talked to the pharmacist, the doctors, the patient. I took that time and gave that extra effort which paid us in terms of our national victory. So we made 3 4 customer personas, and basically segmented the whole Indian diaspora into this 3 or 4 customer segment. That is independent woman who can who self diagnoses her breast to detect her well-being, doctors or medical influencers who would be prescribing our products, and vigilant mothers who would be encouraging their young loved ones, mainly daughters or older ladies like their mother or their aunts, to take a breast cancer test. Now moving to some of the basic financials. Now remember, this is a this is a uncalled rule that you should project the financials honestly, but project the financials that are most good at times. So what I would suggest is, like, I have analyzed last 3 4 years of TUP very thoroughly before even entering the competition. So the thing was, I used to analyze the questions that used to frequently come. Two of the questions that were frequently asked in finance was, what was the break-even analysis for the project, because ultimately it's a business competition in the B plan competition. So judges are expecting a sound knowledge of finance, and they would be asking you what would be the break-even. And guys, do not try to manipulate break-even any point. Those people would be judging, the jury members are extremely vigilant and knowledgeable on that. They would be the CXOs of Reliance. Like in 3 4 years, all the CXOs, like the CFO of Reliance Retail, the CMO, CHRO of Reliance Hydrocarbon, generally visits to judge this competition. So if you try to manipulate the financials or project any false financials that couldn't see, this is the idea competition, there is no real financials. But if you try to manipulate even that and showing that it is very, it would be very much profitable from the first year itself, they will catch you, and they will then, that's a downhill journey. And I do not think if a CFO of a big MNC goes gonna ask you detail or nitty gritties of finance, any B school grad, being it any from college, can handle that kind of pressure. Another thing that I would like you guys to remember is, try to add unique economics in your presentation. If it is a product based, service based, in some service you can also give, but if it's a product based pitch, you should give unit economics. Moving on to our next slide. What we did is a basic GTM strategy, how we are going to target our audience, how, what would be the phases. I would suggest, strongly suggest, do it in a phase wise manner. Do not, if you are that if you see my PPT, I have not elaborated a lot. I have kept just the crisp point to remember in the pitch, and rest on was explained by me. Try to make something like this, that the audience has not to read a lot about your PPT. They have to just see the PPT and understand what you are trying to say, and the rest of the things, rest of the strategies can be explained by you. I am telling again and again, do not make a content heavy PPT. It would be a negative point for you. And basically your PPT has to be great in some sense in an area. Like I thought my I if I consider my PPT was great in presenting the idea. Some people who were in final, where their PPT was great in marketing, somebody else's PPT were great in finance. But you should have a expertise and excelling in some areas that you are going to explain the most, and there comes the business model. And finally, we had some great mentors, because I already told you that we had some great mentors that we talked to and went and asked about how to do that. It's already always great to show a proof of concept that you are doing something. And if you can go and visit the fields, if you can go and if you have the time and the space to do that, do that. It's really gonna effective. And a free advice would be, try to make an prototype for the product itself, because it really helps. If you make a prototype, that gives you an unfair advantage that yes, this is a proof of concept, this is a early stage product that can be launched, or product and service. Pardon me for saying product and product again and again, because mine was a product business, so product idea. So I am using the product, but product and services can be used interchangeably. Now some points that I need to tell you is like, uh, it's always great to have interviews in your video pitch, because that gives a essence that it is a real world problem, not using some cartoon in your video, that or some animation. Always go for real interviews that forces the people to think. So as a presenter, you should always focus to go and meet real people and find out where your idea fits and what is lacking in your presentation. Secondly, the 3 minutes pitch should also include three things: how the project that you are doing is novel, and how scalable the project is. If your project is very novel but not scalable, they will outright reject you. And the third thing is what social impact they are creating. Like I give you the winners of three ppts. Mine was season 9, and it was an idea about breast cancer, woman centric idea that was the need of an hour. Before me, I think Rohan's was something related to hearing aid or translation kind of idea, that also was in the health sector, that also created a social impact. The social angle was there in his PPT also. And last to last year also, somebody made, I don't know, I do not remember the team, I think it was from SPGN. Their idea was also related to that, only some time of pen that could be used in COVID to better enable teachers, so that they can better teach online this time of. So social angle should be there. Your idea should be socially impactful. Remember this word, socially impactful. And lastly, the, uh, you have to choose an idea based on your, I would suggest that this is not a hard and fast rule, but choosing an idea that resonates your undergraduate or your previous experience would be nice, because that you can play in your own turf. Not others are questioning you, but you are playing in your own field. And believe me, scoring a goal in your own turf is very much easy. In my case, I had an expertise in medical background, so I was easily able to explain what are the stages of clinical trials was, how much the expected launch date was, and what are the nitty-gritties of this field was. So if you're an engineer, try to innovate some idea that is socially impactful and has good potential, and that is feasible and noble in engineering field. So that's basically what I would say from my side. I would like Rohan to take over.
Uh, hey, hi everyone. Uh, just allow me to present my presentation. Uh, is it visible now? Is it on the screen? Tunir, maybe you can confirm if you can see my presentation. Okay, great. Hi everyone. My name is Rohan Kulkarni, and my team basically won the national finals of Reliance TUP 8.0. And so we were actually a team of four people. Each of us contributed equally. Unfortunately, the other three couldn't join us today, but I'll speak on behalf of them. Uh, So before starting the presentation, what I would like to say is that there are some basic rules that you should follow in order to have a good pitch. Uh, and to understand that, one thing that you should understand is that Reliance TUB is basically a pitch competition. It's not your normal case solving competition. So generally, what happens in competitions like, for example, Racket or a Tata Steelathon, is that you have an opportunity to come up with very good research points, very good problems, and put everything on the slide. And they probably give you more than 5 minutes, around 10 to 15 minutes, to explain each and everything. And that way you get to show all the work that you have done. The tricky part in Reliance TUB is that in my year at least, we had 3 minutes of video to showcase before the pitch started, and 3 minutes only for pitching. So it's actually, if you rehearse it once, you'll understand that it's actually very less amount of time. So you have to be very selective on what you show, what you say, and most importantly, what the judges are hearing from you in total during your pitch. So I'll run through the deck, and I'll also give you the points of my journey in Reliance TUP. I hope it helps. So this Okay. So this was the start of my PPT. But before this PPT, even we had a 3 minutes of video. I don't have it with me right now, but you can check it on YouTube. And the just like Tunir's video, the primary purpose of our video was to create an emotional appeal. So basically, the format is that you get to play a video of 3 minutes before you start your pitch. And our purpose of video was not to basically add more content to the pitch, but was rather to create a playing field for us when we start our pitch. So during the video, we basically highlighted the statistics of how difficult the life is for DHS people. DHS is basically your deaf and hard of hearing people, and the community suffers from a lot of challenges. And we basically took the real facts that were published in newspapers and articles, and we used those facts to create an emotional appeal before our pitch started. And a lot of actually information that we used during the pitch as well as the video actually came from our primary research. And here's the part where we actually got the idea. So for one of the project, one of my teammates, Jasvi Prakash, she was actually doing a project, and for that project, actually, she visited a few schools for DHS people. And while visiting those schools, she realized that the problems in these schools and for this community particularly, they are innumerous, and very few solutions are available for these problems. And once we discussed, we realized that actually there's a business solution possible for this problem. And we started thinking about it before even Reliance TUB started. And once TUB came to our campus, we realized that why not actually try and brainstorm about this problem. So we picked an idea that actually resonated with us a lot, and not just for this competition. Actually, this is something that we really feel close to. And my suggestion to you would be to also pick an idea that you resonate with. And before so if you have a question about how to pick an idea, I feel there are 6 factors that you should look out for, and these are actually also mentioned on their site, or basically Unstop, where the competition is registered. But for me, the four parameters are there, which are must haves, which are basically your idea should be feasible, it should have a particular need, it should be viable and business viable basically. So you shouldn't be a loss making business, even if you basically make everything possible. And fourth is scalable. And as Tunir mentioned, these 4 points are actually quite important. If you don't have any of even one of these 4 points in your pitch, the chances of you not winning would be very high. So I would say these are must haves. But if you really want to win, then you need to have two more things to your pitch. The fifth and sixth are, you should have some sort of innovation angle to your idea, and it should have a social impact. So so if you look at my deck, from the first slide till the last slide, before the wireframes, Uh, the only thing that I have done using my presentation is actually to answer the basic questions that they had actually mentioned in the Unstop platform. Those questions were roughly something like: Is your idea really functional? Is your idea really scalable? Is it really economically viable, etc.? And the PPT only served as basically an anchor for people to have something to look at and be engaged while they listen to me. And I would really request you to actually go and watch my video. The hard or basically the heavy lifting of the pitch was done through speaking to the audience and trying to create an emotional engagement during that 3 minutes of time. So this was my deck, and again, like Tunir said, you can't put a lot of things on your slide because then it just becomes a reading thing where everyone is reading everything and they miss the point, and they definitely don't get the depth of your uh, idea because they are busy reading it. So you have to basically be very selective. And anyways, you can have five, six, seven slides, and in 3 minutes you have to also give some time to switching your speakers, etc. And there is a time loss also. So I would suggest that you keep as less or as little as possible on your deck. So this is how I started my deck. So the 3 minutes of video talked about the statistics and the problems that statistics of the problems that DHS people face, and then onwards, I after creating that emotional appeal, I basically go right into what the idea is. So the idea is, so basically our idea was to launch an app. It was called Talkity, and this Talkity app would basically be bridging the communication barrier between DHS people and the rest of the world. And what it basically did was it basically attempted to translate Indian Sign Language to audio format and audio format to Indian Sign Language. So we have our QWERTY keyboard. We even have keyboards in Marathi, Hindi, Kannada language, etc. What we don't have as actually is a keyboard for DHS people. And the idea was or rather the primary function of this app was to bridge this communication gap by having an app that helps DHS people communicate with the rest of the world. So you can see the first two functionalities are the core part of the idea. Using this keyboard, basically they can create ISL expressions, Indian Sign Language expressions, which after hitting one particular button will convert the Indian Sign Language to audio format. And then there would be another function to convert someone's audio into sign language. And how that would be done is, if someone is speaking, you press on a button in the app. They will listen to the audio that is being spoken, and once the audio is completely spoken, you finish the recording, and this particular this cartoon would appear on the screen and would convert the audio language into sign language. These two functionalities were the most important functionalities. But during our primary research and secondary research, we also found out that there are two more problems that this DHS community faces. One is that it's most of the people are interested in learning a lot of language, but very few people are actually interested in learning sign language. And that so learning the sign language isn't only for DHS community, because they can learn the sign language, but who would understand? Only they would be able to understand. So someone, let's say, if let's say mera dur ka bhai, for example, if he belongs to this community, and if I don't understand sign language, then there is a communication barrier between him and me as well. And to bridge that gap, we also offered another functionality, which was to basically include the sign language courses in the app. And one more problem that we identified during our primary research was that the infrastructure for education for DHS community in India particularly is not great. It's not great even for normal education, but it's much worse for DHS community. That was one of the highlights of our primary research. So we also included that. And the idea was not to replace the schools using an app, which would be absurdly infeasible. We basically wanted to be more like a tuition classes for these people. It would act as a supplement for their education. But since the accessibility of education to DHS community is not there in the remote places, but the mobile phones and internet coverage is there, sometimes it can even act as primary source of education for these people. And this was the fourth functionality. So, and our basic idea was to deliver not only something that bridges communication barrier, but also bridges education barrier for DHS community, and offer sign language courses. So this was the functionality. I definitely did not explain this way to during my pitch. What I did was I had a few particular points in my mind that I wanted to cover during the pitch, and I only picked up those points, and I didn't deviate from that. Because sometimes it happens, because you are if and if you are very emotionally attached to a topic, you tend to forget the points, and you keep on talking about what you know and what you really want to speak instead of what you must speak. So you should avoid that, and for that I would really request you to practice your pitch, because you really have to wrap up all your pitch in 3 minutes. And yeah, so I only had a few points in my mind while explaining these points. uh, Skeleton, rather, I would say, and I used that skeleton to speak on these points. The next slide was to talk about, again, whether it's really something that is needed in today's world, and are we really solving the problem. And here also, if you see, I have only anchor points on the slide while I delivered something more important through my speech. So again, the entire idea of using an app to bridge the communication barrier is because the smartphone penetration in India is growing. It has already grown a lot, and it's still growing. And everyone has a phone. If not, let's say someone who's deaf and hard of hearing, that child probably doesn't have a phone, but his or her parents would definitely have a phone. So a lot of families in India have the phones, and that makes the problem very feasible in nature, because downloading an app is not very difficult. Having a smartphone is not very difficult, and having an internet connection is also not very difficult. So the entire feasibility of the idea dependent on the existing infrastructure, and how complex our solution is, and how easily accessible it is. So this having an app basically made it very easy in terms of accessibility and feasibility. And to highlight the problem that we are solving, I only use the two statistics uh, that are present on the screen. uh, and we also had a lot to say during our video, so I didn't spend a lot of time talking about the problem again on this slide, but the message was conveyed. Uh, Coming to the next part, actually, this is something that my team faced a lot when we were actually talking about this idea, not just to friends and teachers, but we also went to the schools, special needs schools, and we discussed this idea with a lot of teachers, and they actually appreciated this problem. But whenever we used to talk to someone with a business background, the first problem, or the first question mark that they would have regarding our pitch was that, why can't you just use audio to text speech instead of creating this app? So instead of listening, the person can read what I'm saying, and then they can type something, and I can read that, and that way we can bridge the communication barrier. But actually, it's not feasible, and the reason why this is not feasible, this first point is not visible, was something that I conveyed through my pitch. And that reason was basically not just the DHS community is struggling to learn the sign language itself. So how feasible would it be for them to learn English or Hindi, or even any other language for that matter? So this was, and a lot of points I had while going on about this point. But everything was prepared mentally. On slide, I only had an anchor. Second point was that the infrastructure that exists right now in India for DHS community, it has a lot of room for improvement. So this app can come and act as a supplement for this community. And the next point that I covered was again whether the idea is really scalable and practical. And as I have talked about it already, it is. And as Tunir mentioned, you can't really be pitching a business idea without talking about the economics and the financials of the idea. Now, what I did was I actually had put a lot of effort to create a financial model and everything that I had prepared and was ready for me to present to the judges if they had asked any question. And on the slide, actually, I only put four key parameters that I knew they would be most interested in. And apart from that, I actually had an elaborate financial model ready with me. Fortunately or unfortunately, actually, they were not really interested during my pitch to know more about it. But like Tunir said, you can't really be making up any of these numbers. As you can see, break-even projection for my idea was 3 to 4 years, which if you actually see, most of the ideas, at least in my year, had 1 year of break-even projection, sometimes 2 years, but none of the ideas had break-even projection of 3 to 4 years. But in my case, I didn't really want to make it sound very attractive by making up numbers, because the numbers were not very profitable in terms of because the market size was limited, the affordability was also a question. So break-even projection was 3 to 4 years, but still the idea was profitable. And we basically also had a pricing model. A lot of we also had prepared questions around pricing and how we would price the each and every module that we are each and every functionality in each and every module in the app. So yeah, regarding financials, what I would say is that you have to prepare a lot and be ready for any question to be asked, because they might not really be interested in what you are showing. They might ask you, "Ki bhai, why are you pricing it so low, or why are you pricing it so high, or why particularly this price point?" Or if your break-even projection is, let's say, 1 year, then trust me, like Tunir said, the people that would be judging your case competitions, not just in finals, actually, even in semi-finals, would be CXOs of companies that belong to Reliance Group. So you can't really fool them by just bluffing around. So you have to be very confident about your numbers, and you have to show the best numbers, but be ready for any of the questions to be asked. Along with this, what I would also say is that if you have an idea, it's very, I would say, advantageous if you also have a model with you, a working model. But if you don't, you have to at least illustrate your idea in some way. And for that, what I did was I included wireframes for my app. So this way, everyone who was listening to me was at least able to imagine what the app would look like and how it would help. So you can see what we have done is it's a very simple picture, but what we have done is we have included a keyboard, and you can look that it's a keyboard, and someone is basically using sign language to communicate something, and the button. Now the real app might not look like this, but the presentation or the illustration has to be as simple as possible and as easy to read as possible, and that's what we did here. So these were the wireframes. You can see that we included simple things, and all of this you can see here. Actually, a lot of primary research had went into this. So what are the common expressions that we use? So the idea is not basically to have someone communicate, someone from DHS community communicate with you in proper grammatically correct English. If they can't ask you where is the restaurant, and if they can just say restaurant where, even then you can understand what this person is trying to say, and you can probably help him. And through that, actually, what we did was we come up with a section for common expressions, and this is something one of the teachers in the schools told us that this could also be a good feature. And a lot of these things actually come from primary research, so my request is to actually do your due diligence in primary research. uh, so this was illustration. As you can see, there are two parts to the idea. One is bridging the communication gap, the other is also to bridge the education gap. These were the two modules, level 1, level 2. Basically, this is very easy to read, and this is where I stop my presentation. And yeah, so again, I would say the idea was very simple, but the what I think the reason why we won was we made effective use of the time that was given, and we made effective use of the video as well as the pitch. The the purpose of the pitch was to engage the audience as much as possible into the idea, and not on us or what we did, but rather the idea, the need of the idea, and how it is solving the problem. And so you can talk more about the need. And again, like I said, I'll repeat it again, the six components that you should really look out for are feasibility. Your idea should be feasible. It shouldn't be very out of the world idea to solve a real world problem. It should have a problem. First of all, it should be needed. Third is it should be financially viable, it should be scalable, And these are must haves, but what really stands out in these competitions, especially in semifinals and finals, if you have some innovation edge, like you also saw in Tunir's idea that he was using AI to do something that is not done right now. So it's something innovative, and it should also have a social impact, because what I've also seen, and which is a recurring pattern in Reliance TUP and a lot of case competitions which are open ended in terms of problem statement, is that if you deliver something that creates a social impact, it's really appreciated. So yeah, that is basically everything that uh, I prepared for during this competition. And again, one more point I would like to reiterate is that you will have to prepare a lot of things for a TUP, but please be selective while speaking and preparing your deck and preparing your video. You can't really say everything that you want to say, because you have to say what you need to say, and the 3 minutes would be over in a minute, I would say. So please make good use of the time. Yeah, so that's it from my side, Prashant. I think you can take over.
That was a thorough presentation, Tunir and Rohan. I mean, I was first surprised by what Tunir has shown. I mean, so much depth in the idea that what he was showing, and then now you have shown another deck with, I mean, if not more than at least the similar depth in that as well. And I mean, I'm just amazed by the hard work that you have put in. I mean, uh, you have even shown the app, the functionality which will be there. Tunir even shown that they have gone to the hospitals with their prototype. I mean, this is the kind of dedication then these aspirants will have also have to show if they really want to win it. So I think the floor is now open for the questions. Guys, if you have any questions, I think you don't want to miss this chance to ask it from two national winners of two consecutive years itself, Rohan and Tonina Kale. Please ask at this point of time if there are any questions. I think we are already started getting questions. And meanwhile, in case you're not aware about Bschool buddies, then please join this amazing group. I mean, you will meet with the folks who are working consecutively for these case comps, the mentors who have done it in the past, and they are there to guide you. So you can get some case competition specific guidance like this webinar. There are some sector specific webinars as well. There's a community where there are mentors which are even providing you one-to-one mentorship. And of course, if you want to be the part of this community, you can just join this WhatsApp group. Just scan it from your phone, and yeah, you will be in the community. I think we have already started getting questions. Yeah, I think you can also see some of the questions on the screen. Let me read it out for you. So the first question is, can you? I mean, there's a few. Thank you so much for being here. You're helping a lot. So I'm just skipping those messages. I'm just going on to the first question. So first question is, can you tell a little bit about the round one where we need to upload the 3 minute video pitch? Either of you can just go first.
Yes, I am going first. So the 3 minutes video pitch that you need to upload, it would be just on the criteria that Rohan has mentioned, and it is also written in Unstop and their Reliance TUP website also. The idea should be scalable. The idea should be noble. The idea should have a social impact, and something, 5 parameters are there. I currently do not remember those 5 parameters, and the idea should revolve around that only. And your idea and your video pitch must clearly explain what your idea is. Try not to go very much in depth in certain areas, like do not try to explain very much of finance in the initial stage, because you if your idea, that's basically idea screening round. So try to explain everything with, but just the tip of the iceberg, not going that much into the depth. Try to explain the idea in the initial stage. I think Rohan can add a lot in this.
Yeah, basically Tunir has covered greatly. What I would say is, your 3 minute video pitch in the first round is not going to be the same as the 3 minute video that you are going to use in the finals, because in the finals you can actually use the video as a supplement to your pitch, but in the first round you don't get to say anything. Everything that you have is represented to the judges only through the video pitch. So what you can do is, uh, you can cover the basics, and these basics are actually mentioned on Unstop or whichever site this case competition is registered. Try to cover the basics. Don't go into the details of your idea or your primary research or any of these things, because that would basically just exceed the time limit. Doing that would exceed the time limit. Briefly give an idea, briefly give a pitch about your idea, how it is solving a real life problem, how feasible your idea is, and how you intend to make it happen. Along with that, actually, if you can include some finer points, or basically if you are giving a video and you are saying something, and even if you are saying something, you can actually put some statistics using through some video editing skills if you have any. What I would suggest is, if you are speaking on the why this your idea is needed, let's say you have an app and you're talking about how this idea is needed, you can actually include some statistics in your videos that you are not really speaking about, but they just appear in your video. So those type of things can complement your video pitch, but your pitch should be very crisp. You shouldn't go into the details of the statistics or any of these points, because you have very limited amount of time. I would say focus more on the clearly state what is your idea, which problem it is solving, and other things that they mention. And I think that should do for you in the first round.
Thank you so much, guys, for answering this. I think so. I will just read out the five factors Tunir was talking about. So one is be futuristic. Second is solve a real world or need or problem. Third is challenge conventional wisdom. Fourth is be practical and scalable. Fifth is have a strong business case. So this I'm reading it from the competition play page on Stop only. So you can also read it, and of course that is what they meant. Thank you so much, guys. The next question now is a model really necessary, or can we have a illustrative just like Rohan had?
Yeah, I would like to take this question. Actually, it's a very good question, and I'll be honest here. If you have a working model, it really gives you an edge. I'll tell you, I was really impressed with the team. I think that was from NEET or SPGen. I don't remember exactly, but they actually presented a working model in the finals, and it was really impressive. It was very impressive, and I would say that gives you a lot of edge over other competitors who don't have a working model. But if your idea is, for example, of an app or some service-based software or something that you think you can't really make a model of, having illustratives really helps. But you at least have to have the illustratives at least then. So what we did was we prepared wireframes of the app, like I showed, uh, and that helps. But yeah, illustrative is something I would say you should treat it as your last option. If you can have a model, if your idea is something that can actually have a model, please make sure that you prepare at least some functioning model with at least one functionality, not probably the entirely working model, but if it is at least for the demo, it really helps. I have seen it help other people, other teams. But if you just can't do it, then illustratives can replace the model.
Today you might want to add something on it.
No, no, no. I think Ron has explained really well that giving a model gives us an edge. Actually, in our case, also, his was service based, our was product based. So, in our case, the model was one of the crucial factors that helped us in winning. And I would also give a free advice to everybody that Reliance TUP finals and semifinals are available in YouTube. You can go and check out and see what were the question asked and what was the finalist models were there, so you can get a fair idea that what Rohan was talking about. Not just us, but there were 10 finalists in each year, in our case in 2024 I think, and in his case 2023. So definitely go and check that out, it will give you a really good edge.
Got it, got it. I think that question is answered. If I look at the next question, it is more like a statement than a question, but yeah, I'll just read it out. The number of registrations and participants scares me. How difficult is the competition, and how do I ensure that someone else does not have the same idea?
So I would like to answer this question. That ultimately, in case study competition, it always boils down to some degree of luck. If both the teams have same idea, then first come first serve basis they serve. Those our idea comes first and the jury sees first. Generally tends to go. So in that case, I wouldn't say that you shouldn't be afraid of that. There is a possibility, but that is a very slight possibility. If you work hard enough, I do not think you should be afraid of everything. And even if you see that many registration, 20,000 registration, I can assure you that 60 or 70% of those people have just registered in the sake of registration. They won't be submitting any videos. Like in our case, there were something 25 or 26,000 team odd registration, and some 7,000 teams only submitted a video. Those 7,000 people were the real competition, and people really do work hard on this. So you do not have to fear the crowd. You should fear the people who are working really hard for this, because people do analyze. Because I would share an incident that in the first year I got eliminated in the first round itself. So in the second year, when I made the team, I made the team as Revengers, as a token of revenge that I was going to take by winning TUP. And I analyzed each PPT. Really got inspiration from Rohan's PPT and the year before. I went through every question and answer and every details that was asked, and I included that things only specifically answering this. And there was a judge whose name was who is CHRO of Reliance Hydrocarbon, I think. His name was Mr. Ashwini, I think. He was very feared at that time. I specifically prepared to answer him. I prepared my answer so well that he didn't bother to ask me also. He said, okay, I am done. So that would be my thing. If you work hard, I do not think that number of registrations and other things should be an issue for you.
Yeah, yeah, I think Tunir covers it really well. I would also like to say that if you really work hard, you don't really have to be afraid of the competition. And mostly, what happens in keys competition is that a lot of people just register for the sake of it and then they give up. And so your real competition could probably is not really 20,000 teams, but something much smaller. And if you're afraid of having repetitive or probably repetition in ideas, I would say don't worry about it a lot. If your presentation is really well, if you're and probably you're solving the same problem using different ideas, that could also be a case. But if your problem is also same, your solution is also same, then probably what it boils down to is how effectively you're presenting your idea for that problem, and that would probably help you crack the case competition in first and second round. So yeah, I would say don't worry about it. Do your thorough primary research. Do a very good presentation and video, and that should really take you further rather than having some unique idea. I would say just have full conviction in your idea and the problem that you're solving. I think that should help.
Got it, got it. I think that answers the question. So there's another, I think, a request that if possible, could you please, that should be share the presentations. So of course, I mean, I will ask Rohan and Tunir both if they will be okay. Then of course we will take either the PDF or PPT format of their decks and we will share it with you guys. Okay, so normally what we do is we normally share it on our LinkedIn. That is how it goes for each and every webinar, wherever the speakers want it to be shared. Otherwise, of course, it might be their person idea as well. Okay, so I think these were the only questions that we have received. Let's wait for maybe 1-2 minutes more. If there are any more questions, I should saying thank you. That's great. Any more questions, guys? I think this is the right time to ask because we are just closing the session. Then I don't think you will be able to reach out to these guys. Must be very busy. I know that even on weekends they are finding it hard to even take this time out. And of course, thanks a lot for these guys to taking this time out. I think you can help me. I'm just thanking you on the behalf of all these guys who have been benefited from this session. I think a lot of people are taking part in Reliance TUP. I think in almost every B school, this is one of the a top competition, and everyone is eager to win it. Even I was when I was in B school. I couldn't, but yeah, I mean, if I would have got a webinar, maybe a past year winners deck, then maybe it would have been easy for me as well to win. But yeah, I think thank you so much, guys, for taking time out and of course conduct this webinar and be a part of this particular initiative by B School Buddies. I don't think we are getting any more questions. I think we are good to go. We can close the session. For aspirants, if you are preparing for case comes, you can join this WhatsApp group and be a part of the School Buddies community where we do a lot for the aspirants. And of course, we try to prepare together. Okay, I think there's one more question in the last time. So I'm just reading out the question. Can the video have stock videos or need to be original in content to explain our idea?
I mean, this is not like ad making or something like a marketing competition. You can always have stock footages as long as it doesn't violates someone's copyright. You should check on the copyright, but using stock footages generally do not make any harm because you are not using for any commercial purpose. You are just using it for educational purpose to showcase your ideas. That comes under fair copyright rule, I think. So use stock footages. I do not think any harm is there.
Rohan, any other comment on this?
Yeah, I think if you feel that it's really necessary for you to use these stock videos, then make sure you are following all the rules. Inform it to Reliance, or if someone you can get in contact with from the case competition site, and inform them that you are doing this and maybe use it then. But I would still suggest that if it is not really necessary, create an original video. Yeah, that would be my advice. But I don't see any problem in using stock.
Got it, got it. So I think we have answered all the questions well, and I think it was a thorough presentation, so people don't have much questions left to answer. In any case, if there will be any more questions, they can always ask in our WhatsApp group, and we can always take those questions to you, and you can answer them in free time, and then again we can revert back to them. So, guys, you can always join this WhatsApp group and ask the questions there as well. Again, thank you so much, guys, for being here and help the aspirants. I think this was a great session, and they must have benefited a lot. If there are any closing comments, please do share. Any last tips for the aspirants?
Yeah, sure. I'd like to go first. So actually, Reliance QP experience for me was very nice. I had a team of 4 people, and just working with them was also very, I would say, engaging, informing, and educating for me. But the way Reliance manages this entire case competition is actually very great. They do put a lot of effort in ensuring that we have a very good experience while participating in this case competition. And if you actually go deep into this competition, if you are reaching finals, uh, even Tunir can vouch for it that your experience would be very awesome. Being on their campus, interacting with the CXOs, and you'll realize that it's not very actually easy for you to get access to the CXOs of Reliance, or for that matter, any company, so easily. But when you are on the campus as a participant of the, or I would say as the finalist of that case competition, the way they interact with you, the way they remember your name, the way they talk to you, and the way you have access to them is quite unique. So just I would say, please make an effort to go deep into this competition. It's really one of the best case competitions that I have participated in during my MBA. It's really one at the top. My experience was really good, and yeah, I really enjoyed participating. And honestly, I feel even though I was the winner, I really feel that all the 10 teams that presented during the finals in my batch, actually all of them deserve to win. and quite honestly, a little bit of luck also played a part in making us victorious. But yeah, don't. I would still say that whether, regardless of whether we had won it or not, the journey was really awesome, and I really enjoyed it. I hope you do too. Please make good use of the opportunity that you have right now, uh, and please give your best. And I really wish you all the best for this case.
Tony, you might want to add something, any closing
Yes,
remarks,
yes, yes.
any last tips.
Rohan very beautifully summarized it, that it's a journey worth fighting for. So I can tell you that the journey gonna teach you a lot. And as Rohan said, that getting access to the CXOs of such a huge conglomerate like Reliance is not easy at all. They would remember your name and you will exchange contacts there. Personally, I have built few great contacts when I went there. The prize money and the token and the fame that we get out of Reliance TUP is on the next level. For me, I think very few case competition are there in this country that can match the level of Reliance TUP, because this is set, the team ensures a total experience for you. So I think everybody should really bring their A game and vows that they win. That's it. All the best, guys, and that's all from my side.
I think that was it. Thank you so much again, guys. And thank you so much, viewers, as well, for being there. I think this is a two-way conversation. Just me and these guys can also not be sufficient. You guys are also as necessary as we are. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. You can subscribe to this channel so that if there are any upcoming webinars, you are notified. You can join the WhatsApp group to be the part of community, and you can of course be on the channels, on the every channel of social media channels of these School Buddies, so that we stay connected. Okay, thank you so much again, Rohan and Tunir, for taking time out for this amazing webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.